What's poppin', y'all? It looks like Steve Will Do It might really need that fight with Aiden Ross because we're getting more evidence that he's running into money issues. Now, this all started with a fan of Steve Will Do It's claiming that he had won a giveaway and never received the money for it. And this tweet says, "I'm coming on here begging for some help. My name is Braylon, and I'm an 18-year-old kid that works. You're not a kid anymore, bucko. That works 6 days a week right now and is trying to start a business. A while ago, I won a giveaway. Dude, a while ago now, I won. O-N-E. Jesus. Please do not start a business. Well, you don't belong in school either. A giveaway from Steve Will Do It, and have been trying to get in contract with him since and have not been able to. I have all proof that I won from this video, and it is 100 grand, which is life-changing money to me and my mom. That is certainly life-changing money. Hope you guys don't spunk it off. I have tried to reach out to him, and this is my last resort. I'm not coming out trying to blast Steve or anything. I'm simply asking for help to get in contact with him. This money would help me start a business." Oh, yeah, that money's getting spunked then. "And help me make my dreams come true. I honestly don't like to think about the situation because it makes me sick to my stomach thinking I may not get it. Please help." And then he tags both Togi and Steve. He says, "I can attach all my proof through here or on DMs." Now, a bunch of people started tagging Steve, and this guy got announced as the winner, and the coin flipped for Togi's $2 million house video. And they even show the timestamp. Like he says, around 2 minutes. Please help spread the word. He says it's been 5 months. So 5 months and this guy didn't get it. Well, Steve Will Do It would reply. And he says, "At first I thought you were lying. Then I go to your page and I don't know, it seems real. If this is real, then you will get paid. You will be on payment plans for a bit. I'm sorry if this is true. F you if you're lying. I'm sending money to my sister to verify. She handles the adult things like sending money." And then the guy says, "Thank you so much, man. I can send all proof needed." Now, this is concerning. Now, first off, Steve, not known to be a scammer. And I do not think that he's a scammer. And I think that he would give out his own money and be not out on the streets, but be down in the dumps before he scams somebody and screws them over. Like, he gave 6ix9ine a Rumble deal, and he put his reputation on the line for 6ix9ine to just essentially scam Rumble, not show up for any streams or anything like that. I know that dude Chris Pavlovsky must hate 6ix9ine now. But Steve Will Do It's talking about payment plans for a 100K giveaway. That's, and yeah, he even said it's a F up on his part. So I do think that this was just an error in accounting in terms of like, yo, he forgot, and now this kid's gonna get his money. But the fact that he needs to put him on payment plans for 100 grand, while just the end of last year, he was spending millions of dollars on Corinna Koff.
Corinna's birthday, and she's the best. So,
I'm scared. I'm so scared.
Here, and then. Well, you already knew you were getting it.
Oh my god.
GT3 RS.
Holy, it looks so good.
It's crazy,
It looks
right?
so good.
Yo, and it's loud as
Oh, I'm scared.
and boom.
Oh my god.
Presents. But yeah, happy birthday. And then
I'm so scared.
oh, and then this. Yo, this.
What's going on?
This, I was gonna say like.
I don't need any more. Okay.
No, I was gonna say.
I don't need any more gifts.
When I bought this, I looked at it. I was like, I'm gonna write her a note and be like, "Hey, Corinna, if I become like not so unhinged and crazy, maybe you'll like date me or something, and then you open this. If not, open it in a year. But it's to match my drip. But it's it's factory and it's to match my drip.
I'm scared.
No, but it's not even okay.
Look at it.
Okay, but you see my drip?
Yeah.
36
I think you did enough.
Here you go. It's a factory Rolex. And that's to match my drip.
Holy.
It's to match my drip. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
This is my
What do I
drip.
do to deserve all this? What is the reason for all this? Is what I want to know. Nobody just goes out and decides one day, oh, I'm just gonna buy a bunch of for somebody that I don't really know that well.
Never met a like me.
Seriously.
Spillage.
Oh boy.
On aisle, $1 million. Straight up. And what? Now you're saying like,
No.
Plane Corinna was waiting, and Steve was ready to celebrate her birthday for the 8th time with an $89,000 watch. Also, he gave her a $30,000 Hermes bag, but who's counting?
It's so cute.
Corinna then surprised Steve with a gift of her own, sweatpants.
Okay, now I gotta get you back.
Oh my God, she got you a shirt.
I want another car.
To be honest, neither Corinna nor I knew why she was receiving these gifts.
I haven't even used my yet.
You haven't had to this?
No.
Are you going to?
I think I need to.
The Rolls Royce Pullman, a Ferrari 296, a McLaren 720S Spider, and then we got the 4x4 Brabant.
Wow.
You have 3 minutes because we have to make our flight. Choose one of them, and it's all yours.
Oh my God.
Pick somebody else, dude. I have 8 cars.
You have 9.
You have not.
Otherwise,
Like really bad gluttony, and I'm going to hell.
right? Okay.
If it wasn't my picks, it's this.
Corinna. This one.
Okay, you're getting the 750S, and I'm wrapping it.
I don't want the 750.
Okay, then you're getting the Ferrari.
I don't want the Ferrari.
Okay, then you're getting the Rolls Royce. All right, process of elimination. We're getting the Brabant.
Which one'd you pick? That's the choice. This is the craziest car reaction I've ever seen in my life.
I've gotten 3. What do you want me to say?
No, I'm not blaming you. I'm not.
Another car. Like, it's literally like he's buying me Chick-fil-A.
How long have you known him for?
4 weeks. Literally, I've only got my period once since I've known this guy. You know he gave Carl 10 grand once? He said, here you go. He put 10 grand on the ground and walked away.
Well, he would also be exposed by a close friend of Korinikoff's, Aircool, that all of those cars and things that he bought Korinikoff had to be returned.
I actually found out today, though, because I did call her to talk to her about getting that all situated. I mean, she said she'll do it. She gifted back all the cars Steve gave her. He didn't, like, pay for any of them. Motherfucker gifted a car and didn't pay for it. Who does that?
Uh-huh.
And then makes a video about it. I don't know. That's weird.
I'm like, wasn't there a video about that?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Internet, man. Who knows what you can believe these days?
So this is more evidence that Steve Will Do It is in dire straits financially. Does that mean he's broke? I don't necessarily think so. But another example of this is Steve Will Do It's frustration whenever he was asked about money.
I really appreciate him asking me about like Happy Dad or like all the hundreds of millions of dollars we generated in merch, and you know, I see him ask Tfue questions, and it's like, I don't know, he's very nice about the money thing.
What do you mean Tfue questions?
About financials and stuff. It's like, I don't know, just different energy, man. I really appreciate, especially as a business owner. Like, he owns Prime, we own Happy Dad, and he knows that, and he knows how massive Happy Dad is, and anyone that goes outside in America should know, right? It's pretty big. I don't know. I felt like he should have asked that, or should have asked like if I saved up a bunch of money, because I was so big for so many years, right? If I saved up, if I had investments or something, because it's not like I just popped up on the internet and just started giving out a bunch of money, you know, like like
from the beginning. Yeah, it wasn't that way.
It was like a really long journey. An 8-9 year journey that he has been watching for the entire 8-9 years. Because if he's paying attention now when I'm not doing nothing, I would like to think he was paying attention.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if you're anywhere in America, you see Happy Dad probably at a liquor store. They have the distribution, but I don't think you see people drinking it on the regular. You don't see people on social media talking about it. But speaking of Happy Dad, we would get some more information from Mike Malak, who was visibly a little bit disturbed, bothered, you could say, when it came to the fight being announced between Kyle and Steve Will Do It potentially, and Steve Will Do It being down for that. However, once he went back on the Logan Paul podcast, he would reveal a couple of different things. And I'm going to just have to read the transcripts to you guys, because Logan Paul's podcast, these guys hit everybody upside the head. You can't use video, you can't use audio, you can't use anything. So we're going to read a good old transcript, and let's see if they try to come after that, right? So Mike Malak says, if you think for 1 second that John Shahidi didn't have a disparagement clause in that Happy Dad contract with Steve, you're out of your mind. Imagine Steve going online and saying Happy Dad is gross, drink Los Toxicos Amigos or some other sort of drink. And that is pull that Steve Will Do It certainly had. And then he says, bro, you're disparaging the brand and promoting a competitor. And he says, you really think John Shahidi doesn't have a disparagement clause in the effing contract? And Logan says, I doubt it. He says, Jeff, you don't really think that there's a disparagement clause? You don't do that to an equitable owner like Steve in this scenario. And then Mike says, are you effing high? I have a disparagement clause in the agreement with you in regards to Logan Paul on this show. And he says, because we're smart. No, I'm kidding. Is that true? So Logan claims that he doesn't know it's true. And then Mike says, yes, if I go out on any given week and start trash talking, and it was because of George, their previous co-host, because George, he pretty much built up another podcast off the back of Logan Paul and trash talking him, or not trash talking him, but talking about his experience, disparaging him. It was negative on Logan Paul's image. And yeah, he said they got a new term for it. You get a bump in equity, and there was a clause in there that said, hey, we're going to make sure we do not talk ish. You can only say nice things about Logan's brands, because Logan Paul would also get into a lawsuit with CoffeeZilla and talk about him. Well, felt like he was being disparaged, and he beat that case because of the whole crypto zoo situation. So Logan Paul is very, very sensitive business-wise, not emotionally. Probably emotionally too, but about being talked about negatively. But this just goes to show we never really see Steve Will Do It mention John Shahidi anymore. And he mentioned a lot of support for him in the past. Like he said in July 15, 2024, he says, John Shahidi is a good man, in response to Shahidi donating $25,000 for the Donald Trump's victims at the Pennsylvania rally that happened of that year. And then he also says, one last shout out, August 29th, 2024, is to Sam Shahidi, the CEO of Happy Dad, and the entire team of over 100 employees. But Sam Shahidi dedicates his entirety to Happy Dad, and it wouldn't be this much of a success without him. He goes on again and says, assembling team, assembling businesses, becoming a natural Greek god. I'm 26 this my year. Thank you for all my partners. People sticking with me through thick and thin. People like John Shahidi, Kyle Forgard, and his other sponsors. Thank you. So, are these guys tight though? Because these guys, the Shahidis, you're probably wondering, who the hell are these guys? Well, they first started with mobile games, actually. That's how I first found out. I first found out about them via Justin Bieber, because they had this Shots app. And they were creating mobile games in the late 2000s, early 2010s. And they created an iPhone game with Mike Tyson. And at some point, they linked up with Justin Bieber, and Justin Bieber invested in their company. And they started to grow it. Then they did the Shots app. And then the Shots app, that was in 2013. So between 2013 to 2016, we're talking peak Vine era, they started working with a lot of Viners, like Rudy Mancuso, the guy that did the whole like puppet show thing. And then they shifted. They just tossed the whole Shots app thing in the trash. So in 2016, the Shots app was removed, and they turned this into like a media company, like a digital studio. So they got a bunch of people on board. They were creating all of these different shows and series, and that's mainly what they did for a very long time. Like the Lele Pons, she's another one that's managed underneath them or works with them. So Shots is a media company now, and underneath the brand, it's the Shots Podcast Network, which is the Full Send podcast. They had Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson. I don't know if that's still a podcast, but they have a ton of these media brands underneath them. That's where the business went. And now they're mainly focused on all in on Kyle and the brand of Full Send. Like even if you look at either of the Shahidi brothers' Instagrams, what you see is Shots, Happy Dad, Full Send pouches, and some other thing called Chili Willy, which is something I guess that they're developing. But this is all like, Full Send pouches. It's just nicotine. So these are all brands that are tied to the main brand, which is Full Send and Nelk. So it would make sense if he's not cool with Nelk and Kyle, what was his relationship with the Shahidi brothers? Well, in an interview, John Shahidi would talk about linking up with Nelk, but Steve wouldn't be mentioned.
Did you know you had that synergy straight away with Kyle and Steve as well? And how did you How did you first meet? How did it all happen?
Kyle and I, we had followed each other on social media, but we met at a dinner, and then shortly after, we just met one-on-one. Actually, it was a day later, the day after we met in person, we met, and we hit it off right away. Like, I knew it. I said, I want to work with this guy. I want to be this guy's partner. I want to be in with this guy. He's sharp. He's going to be around for a very long time. So yeah, it was an instant thing. I didn't even have to think twice. My brother, Sam, he was at the dinner. He didn't have to think twice. We were immediately in.
So here he says, me and Kyle hit it off immediately. So him and Kyle, he's like, yo, this guy's, he's a sharp mind. He's serious. He's not one of these joke kids, and he's not liable to crash out. We've never seen any type of terrible situation, terrible PR on Kyle's behalf. Never. We've never seen him say the wrong thing. And even when they did that interview, which was a goofy interview, but some people do feel like they're controlled. That's why they did that interview with the prime minister, leader of whatever, of that one tiny country in the Middle East that a lot of people have issues with, for and against. When they did that, people were like, yo, what's going on? That was the most controversial moment that they had. But Kyle, despite drinking, partying, all this other stuff, he doesn't have any allegations from chicks. He doesn't have any owing money allegations. He doesn't have any drug things. And he's not as much of a liability as Steve. And he wasn't banned either. And we would also get notes from Mike Malak that Kyle really hates Steve right now. On the podcast, Mike Malak says the following: all this Steve versus Kyle stuff has been brewing for a long time. As someone who's been on and behind the scenes of it for years now, there's been animosity brewing between that camp. We've seen that ourselves, and the arguments about the money. And Kyle is on an island right now. Not Epstein Island, he's by himself. He does have Salim and technically still has Steiny, which when you're talking about Nelk, you're like, Salim? Yeah, we've seen that guy before. Steiny is the most worthless thing. He's the most unentertaining, slimy. He's a hard worker and he knows how to put content together. But as a personality, that guy couldn't, let's say I love Coca-Cola, right? Steiny has negative influence. If Steiny is like, yo, I love Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola's the greatest thing ever. I might consider quitting drinking Coca-Cola and switching to Pepsi because I don't want to be associated with anything that Steiny's promoting. So that's how much of a negative influence Steiny is. Nobody's like, yo, Steiny's got that. I want to be like that. Steiny, he's just, that's the best way I can describe it. So yeah, he's got Steiny, doesn't say much. But really, it seems like Bradley's completely taken Steve's side and turned against Kyle. I don't think he's turned against Kyle, but I think Brad is just more of a friend towards Steve and realizes that Kyle might have just been a business connection and he's going to choose his friend over a business connection because he doesn't need money. I don't think Brad's like itching for like, yo, I got to become a billionaire. That doesn't seem like Brad. He wants to go home. He wants to go to the gym, play his video games, do his stream, talk to who he wants to talk to, and that's it. Steve obviously had to paint the picture like this. You've got the Shahidis and you've got Kyle Forgard trying to run this company. Okay, which involves, let's be serious, an amazing company, a lot of stuff going on. You've got Happy Dad, Full Send Golf, like a bunch of things that really don't have any motion right now. You've got a million different little enterprises and niches and things going on. A lot of them hinging on Nelk though. A lot of people's lives involves distributors, employees, everybody. One of the people pushing that along and making that thing bigger is this explosive asset, warhead, which is SteveWillDoIt. And they were on a crazy ascension while SteveWillDoIt was a part of this. Now, this brings up a tried and true thing where you have this radioactive guy that can bring you to greatness in Steve and drive viewership by the crazy antics. But if it starts to go haywire, it affects the business. And at first, Steve was a way of really turning up everything and doing all this crazy stuff. But eventually it becomes, yo, Steve can be a liability for the enterprise. Yes, he can certainly be a liability. And if he gets in trouble with YouTube, he's going to turn on YouTube and cause problems. That's not what happened. He really took it on the chin, shut up for a long time. He called out Mr. Beast about it, but that was it. He didn't throw up a big fuss, and him turning on YouTube has no effect on Nelk. But I think that's when they decided to stop having him in the videos because they felt that he might say something in a Nelk video calling out YouTube. And that would risk their channel or their empire in this case. And I do believe that's something that was more of a decision on the business guys and the Shahidis than it was Kyle, because they're concerned about their whole empire. Kyle would probably be like, yo, let's just make the video with the guy. They were already demonetized for a long time, so they were doing risky stuff. And we start to see this rift between the organization and Steve. And keep in mind, he says the organization and Steve, not Kyle. That's important. And I think Steve was unhappy or unsatisfied with equity and with royalties, outputs. I think that was completely fair. Kyle documented all of it. He laid out all of the numbers, and Steve had no response to it. And for years, it was a silent battle, but now it's obviously become real. Yeah, it's very real now. And I think Kyle, he just feels like Kyle chose the Shahidis over Steve, and he felt betrayed by that. I think he may not have animosity towards those guys, but I do believe that there is a clause that these guys put in to where he can't talk crazy about them. But as we see with Steve Will Do It, this guy's having money issues, and Nelk is having brand issues, because right now, motion-wise, Steve Will Do It's still that guy. He's with Bradley, he's with 6ix9ine. Whenever Steve shows up to a live stream, he is the center of attention. But you can't really run and scale a business to these guys. They want to do billions. They're talking about, yo, selling Happy Dad for 20 billion, this and that. And this was several years ago, though, when they were talking about that. Their projections have probably become a lot more realistic. But when you're trying to do something like that, somebody like Steve Will Do It, you need to get away from that. He's a liability. Like, the guy's talking about doing Quaaludes. The guy's talking about Muslims. The guy's talking about black people. The guy's talking about every single controversial thing under the sun. And once you've built this asset, now they're in defensive mode. Like, they could have used them when they were still on attack. But the problem is when you're on defensive mode, you can't really grow as much, because whilst Kyle has tried to do a bunch of different big things to get attention to the brand, it just hasn't hit. And like I said, Steiny is a gargantuan failure. Salim, that guy doesn't have aura. He's a side character. So if you throw Salim with somebody like a Steve, okay, you can have something there. But when you throw Kyle and Salim together, it's a snooze fest. Well, yeah, hopefully they get these guys in the ring. I don't know if Kyle will do it. I don't know if that's good for the brand, because if him knocking out Kyle is like knocking out the entire Shots and Full Send empire. Like, nobody wants to be associated with that anymore. So Kyle's going to have to, I don't know, dude. What can he even do in this scenario? Because it's not like Kyle's the operations guy. He's the face. And in order to be the face, you're going to have to do media. That's how you came into this game. And with media, you're going to have to address Steve Will Do It at some point. And he has financially, but if Steve Will Do It keeps asking him to run that fade, and you've got people like Aiden Ross trying to organize it, and you've even got all these other podcast hosts like Bradley, you're seeing everybody lean more towards Steve, not saying that they felt that he got screwed over or anything, but they're just like, yo, we don't really like what's going on over there in Corpo world. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed, and I'm going to see y'all in the next one.